And we're back here for game 2 of the KT versus Afreeca series here on week 1 of the LCK season. We had Afreeca eke out a very, very close game, 50 minutes long here in game 1, and they had a real advantage early, where they had a gold leads from between 3,000 and 10,000 gold, but KT had the scaling comp and was just able to hold on and almost was able to win it. But Afreeca was picking the more aggressive comp. They were initiating the fights, and it was more KT who were just kind of delaying, and ended up losing a couple of key team fights where Kuro with his Azir just made an awesome engage right in the mid lane and ended up getting a 3-0 team fight, which ended up setting up for another team fight win, in which case they finished the game. So really excited to see the second game. You just know KT, they don't want to get embarrassed. They have the names, they have the pedigree, they have all the expectations in the world. You can't let a team like Afreeca, who, frankly, a lot of people will be shocked if they finish top 4, top 5. You can't have them walk over you here in game in the first week. So we're going to be seeing how this changes a little bit. So far, pretty standard bans. The only thing that is targeted would be the Kog'Maw ban. So that would be from game 1. Kramer had a beyond excellent game on the Kog'Maw and was just spitting out all kinds of damage. And here Smeb is going to pick the Gangplank once again. So Afreeca, they were playing Gnar into Gangplank before. It had a very big lead, but Gangplank was a much larger threat towards the mid and late game. Like when Gangplank was able to get his Trinity Force, that lane changed entirely, even though Gnar was up more than 30 CS. So this very likely this is going to get picked, yes, and it is. Tom Kench, which can be a flex pick, but I would say there's a 95% likelihood it's going to be support. He's just not played that often in top lane. He's most useful for his Devour, and even though Kog'Maw was banned, there's still lots of AD carries that you can Devour. The Kha'Zix would be a pretty safe pick. Generally, you want to pick your jungler on your first rotation because they're very difficult to counter. So having a support and a jungler as your first 2 picks really doesn't leave any sort of information for KT, and you're going to be able to see what they pick here. They're most likely going to be picking a jungler and then a support. They could also pick an AD carry again, but I'd be very shocked if they picked their mid lane here, already showing their preference for Gangplank up top. The Braum, another very popular melee support here in the 2018 season. This is patch 8.1, and pretty defensive bot lane. We're going to be seeing the Varus once again. He was played last game, and even though I criticized KT for picking Varus, it turns out Varus was a good pick, and it was not the reason by any means they lost the game. Varus had some good ults, was outputting all kinds of damage, especially after the Rage Blade was completed, and was not a bad pick for them. So, it's probably a pick that Def's been playing a lot of in solo queue or in scrims, and he's just feeling very comfortable with it and picking it here in the first rotation. So, first ban out in the second rotation is Malzahar. Of course, Zoe has not been pick banned yet. The first game, Zoe was banned in the second rotation. So she wasn't picked, but she was banned. So the traditional counter pick to Zoe has been Malzahar. So it's been a real constant. The flux between Malzahar and Zoe. Generally, one is picked if the other one's picked. So Gnar being banned by KT. So Smeb didn't like getting that far behind against Gnar. So probably telling his team, or maybe his coaches deciding that they don't want that matchup anymore. They're going to say, okay, just bring anything else to the table. What else do you got? Because we don't want to see that Gnar anymore. And it'll be anyone's guess whether this is going to be another ban from the last game or what. I think it's going to be a Zoe ban. That's what I would guess, but again, I haven't seen this, and they might just ban out someone from the first game. And there's the Zoe ban. So, as expected, even though the counter was banned, KT deciding not to play Zoe. I'm guessing Pawn is not that comfortable with it. It kind of seems like Afreeca was baiting it out, like they wanted it picked. So I'd be very shocked if this Lucian does get locked in. He's not a very standard mid lane, and in the preseason is not something that's picked a lot. So I really don't like this pick by Kuro. And you're not only picking it, but you're picking it to get counterpicked. So if this Zed gets picked up, that it's really not going to be a good time for Kuro. I really dislike the Lucian pick. So that's what I'm taking out of it so far. Jax jungle, you need time for Jax. Again, he's another scaling champ like Gangplank, where you need at least 2 items before he really starts to turn on. So once again, KT has got wave clear in the middle and great clearing. Great clearing as in being able to wave clear mid so that the top and jungle can both get into late games. So I'm not sure exactly how meta Jax is in the jungle. I think he's not meta. I think this is a real kind of specialty pick. And it looks like Veigar is getting picked for top lane. So wow, this is a really, really interesting comp by Afreeca. Wow. Lucian in the top lane and Veigar in the middle. Oh wow, so this was a Lucian counter pick to Gangplank. I wonder how that's going to work out. If your reaction time is very strong, you can E out of the barrels. If I would just to say right off the bat, I like KT's comp much better. I was able to predict out of the last series which comp I like better. I did like Afreeca's comp better in game 1, and here I like KT's comp. We're gonna have to see how I say this game revolves a lot around this top lane. If Lucian's not able to get kills and get a lead on this top lane like he was able to with Gnar in game 1, then this Gangplank is going to be doing so much more than Lucian. Lucian needs a lead to start. He's a lane bully. If you're picking him in a solo lane, you have to get ahead, and you don't have a support to be protecting you. All you have is your short cooldown, short distance dash on your E, and that's it for an escape. As you could see, he picked teleport, so I'm not sure if he's going to be going for the unseen spellbook, so he can kind of switch that around as he sees fit. But overall, yeah, it's got to be something that's been played before, because they saw the Gangplank first pick and they picked Lucian into it. So this is something that is something Afreeca picked into, and it's what they want. I imagine there's going to be a fair bit of jungler help on the side of Afreeca going to help out Lucian, because again, if he goes even in lane with Gangplank, it's going to be a huge detriment to the team, and it's going to give KT an instant advantage. So even though I said KT does have the scaling advantage with Jax and Gangplank, it's not like Afreeca have no scaling. They have Caitlyn, who's a beast on 5 items. They do have Veigar, who can stack his Q to get ability power infinitively. And so they are no slouches themselves. The only thing is that Lucian top is going to fall off, and Kha'Zix compared to Jax is going to fall off. So if you were to rank it on a 10-point system, KT has, let's say, an 8 scaling comp, and Afreeca has like a 7. So it's not a huge difference, but there is a noticeable difference. Spirit going ahead and using the smite to get heal but is only able to stay alive for so long. Varus picking up the first blood. Deft is going to be using that incredible advantage, and we're going to see if he's going to be able to get a lead on the bottom onto Caitlyn. Jax is fine just to get out, going ahead and hopping over to the blue buff. Pawn looks like he's going to be going down with Kramer picking up that kill. So it's a 2-for-1 lead, and but the first blood does go to KT. So we'll see where the kills ended up. Veigar and Caitlyn picking up the kills for Afreeca. It's those are definitely 2 of the 4 that you want. Basically, all 4 of their carries need kills. So that's as long as Tahm Kench is not taking those kills, and they're pretty much fine the way they are. And then Varus picking up that first blood, going for the dagger control ward, and what appears to be the relic upgrade. So getting control ward and the additional attack speed should help against Caitlyn. Caitlyn wasn't able to buy, so even though Caitlyn did get that kill as well as the 2 assists for the Tahm Kench, all she's bringing to lane right now is experience. And as you can see, she's going back right now. Oh, no, decided to cancel the teleport. Not the teleport, but the back channel. So here, this is just exactly how we expect this top lane to go, with Lucian pushing the gangplank in. And really, you only want to push this lane in if you think that gangplank is not going to CS well under tower. You would prefer, as Lucian, to be able to have this lane more out into the middle, where you can E in and follow up with your combo and do more damage to this gangplank. You want kills. You don't want a 10 CS lead. This is not what you want as Lucian. Gangplank will take that every time. And here we can see the Kleptomancy going ahead and picking up a little bit extra gold. Gangplank is like the renewed Bankplank. He just wants to pick up as much gold as possible in the first 20-25 minutes, and then start helping his team out with ultimates and teleports and split pushing. CS leads now for KT in mid lane and in bot lane. The most significance would be the bot lane, where Deft has a 10 CS lead on Kramer. The mid is not so shocking. Once again, it's the same. It's the Veigar against the Azir, and just like in last game, the Azir does get the initial advantage from being able to push the wave, and Veigar not able to pick up all the CS under tower as you would with some other champs. Score not wanting to be seen. This is a mistake that a lot of amateur junglers do, is they show themselves in lanes to their opponents so that the opponent will know where your jungler is, and more importantly where your jungler isn't. So as you could see, Jax waited for the lane to push and for all the enemy minions to be by the opponent's tower before he walked through the mid lane, because he does not want to give up where he is. Basically, the lanes have to play more safe when you don't know where the jungler is. So just something to keep in mind, something that these pros do instinctively, but in, I would say, even in plat games, you see junglers give up unnecessary information of where they are. Probably in Diamond is where they stop. I don't know. I don't play a whole lot of Diamond games, but you'd think that the top 2 or 3% of players would at least know not to show themselves intentionally in various lanes as a jungler. So this is more how this lane should be going. Caitlyn does have the range. Both supports are melee. She should be able to take control of this lane, be able to poke, as well as get the wave to tower and get a couple of tower shots. Now you can do this safely until level 6, which is when Deft, as Varus, picks up his ultimate. And really, Tahm Kench is a very good counter to Varus, just because your Devour directly counters Varus's ultimate stun. And the Shurima Shuffle, it goes out, but a very good flash by Kuro goes right through that, but with no mana left, he's going to take this opportunity to head back to base. And good job by Palm, pushing it to the wave 2 tower and forcing Kuro to go back, who's picking up a little bit of cooldown reduction and a little bit of ability power. So Azir going back, farming extremely well with 58. Goes ahead and finishes off his boots, so is valuing his mobility pretty highly this game. And he did this last game too, where he finished his Mercury Treads fairly early, I believe before finishing his first ability power item. Last game, I believe he built half of the ability power item, and then he finished off his boots, but this game he went directly and upgraded his boots. That goes in contrast with, let's look at the top laners, which don't even have level 1 boots yet. So, you know, it all depends on your lane matchup, who you're playing, as to whether you should be prioritizing movement speed or not. A little bit of a stutter step by Kramer. Kind of waited a little half second before getting the auto off. Not a really big deal. Once again, Jax is going to walk through when the wave isn't there, but Afreeca does see him as he does pass through a ward put there by Afreeca. So they know where Jax is that he's going to be on the bottom side of his jungle, possibly going for his red very shortly when that's up, so they have complete knowledge of where Jax is and where he isn't, which is very importantly not on the top side of the map. So Lucian can keep pushing this wave in, keep denying CS to Gangplank, and although he's not getting a kill, is able to get some damage, as you see right there. That's exactly how he should be playing, and that's why if you have a choice, you would like the wave to be closer to the middle, away from the tower, where you can go ahead and get damage on this Gangplank without having risk of tower shots and ganks. But knowing that the jungler is on the other side of the map, you can push it in, and as you can see, the CS lead has ballooned in the top lane to 23. 80 CS in 8 minutes 45 seconds, extremely strong, and both the top laner for Afreeca and the mid laner for KT are farming pretty much at that perfect ratio. Lucian making sure to keep this river warded. He wants to extend the CS lead as long as possible until Gangplank gets that Trinity Force. And at this rate, it's going to be another 10 minutes or so. Wow, not 10 minutes. Maybe 7 or 8 minutes. So initially looking, no Kleptos for KT. So last game, game 1, they only had they have one Klepto here in KT. That they only had one unseen spellbook last game, and this game they have no unseen spellbooks. And over on Afreeca, they have 2 unseen spellbooks with Vigar and Tom Kench running the Ruin. So KT choosing to use this Ruin less than other teams. So we're going to have to see whether this works for them or not. And I have seen that the more unseen spellbooks so far in these regions, the better. So generally, the successful teams are running 2 or 3. You're going to have to think that KT is valuing damage and that Klepto, the Klepto GP, more so than the quicker summoner cooldowns. Who's right? Who's wrong? We might need a couple more weeks to find out, and there's still a chance that Riot changes Klepto or changes Unseen Spellbook based on the use in pro play. So we're gonna see what Riot does, but for the meantime, it seems like that's what the meta is, and KT breaking the meta a little bit. So far, this is how you want that top lane going for Lucian. With the Vampiric Scepter build, you think he's going to be probably going Blade of the Ruin King, and he is. There's the Bilgewater Cutlass finished. Level 1 boots with the attack speed. He does not need that much more gold for the full Blade of the Ruin King. So Gangplank should know at this moment that Lucian has a big damage advantage, and as you can see, Lucian is not pushing the wave now. Now, because he went back and got his first buy, I thought he was gonna zone, but he's pushing it now. Guess he's not sure if whether GP went back or not. You'd mostly be safe to push it here if you know where the jungler is. So There's not a whole lot of wards. Looks like there's a ward that does see Jax out. So they do know that Jax is on the red side jungle. So that's exactly how Lucian is playing. Is whenever he sees Jax on the opposite side of the map, that's when he pushes. If he doesn't see Jax, then he's going to keep the lane in the middle. It's kind of a very smart, calculated way to play this top lane. Smed played this exactly the same as before, not getting any sort of early aggression on with Gangplank. That's not what you want to do. You need your Trinity Force before you can do anything, and he's playing it very carefully. Cleanse used by Azir. The Rift Herald being stopped, so Spirit really does not like that. Kind of stunts him in his jungle. He did take a good 5-6 seconds to set that up, and then had to go back to base when Pawn was coming up to check. So GP has 4,000 gold. That's what he has as total gold. So it looks like it's going to be a gank with a counter gank. Kha'Zix does see that there's a ward there, knows he's been seen, and is just going to go back to his jungle. Jax does want this fight. He was setting it up. Did not want to jump on Kha'Zix into tower. Just spending a lot of time here. Trying to set up a play onto this Lucian, who has to think that it's possible that Jax is down here. Goes ahead and gets the stun on him, but Lucian is very strong at this moment and just turns back, and that was only 2 or 3 shots and it already got down Jax to 60% health. Jax realizing that, wanting to make sure to get back in the jungle, and a little bit unusually, he's going Cinder Hulk. So something I've not seen on Jax, and just a little bit of early survivability, and going ahead and building the tank for early objectives and early team fights, and not with the more usual either warrior enchantment or an attack speed enchantment. So a little bit different play here by the Jax, and you kind of sacrifice your early attack strength, your early dueling potential. You sacrifice your ability to farm very, very hard in the jungle and try to get a CS lead, all for these mid-game team fights and objective control. And when you look at the team, the team does have enough damage. When you have Gangplank, Azir, Varus, and your only tank being Braum, so going ahead and putting that Cinder Hulk on Jax puts him in secondary tank status. So instead of having no tanks, you go ahead and get two kind of off tanks with both Braum and Jax now. So going ahead and building for team. I like the adaptation, and see if that works for them. Already with more than 10 CS every, or 100 CS every 10 minutes is both the mid lane for KT and the top lane for Afreeca. Both at 166, extremely strong. And Kuro kind of playing like Gangplank and just not minding if he's getting pushed in, just farming, making sure not to die. He knows he's going to be a threat later. A proto belt built on Veigar, so that's an unusual build. So different types of builds coming out this week 1. I'm liking the innovation. We're seeing what works. The meta has not been established yet. It's going to take another week or 2 to get some sort of uniformity around these leagues, especially in Korea. So just a real interesting time to be watching, casting, playing this game, and League did a great job in the off season, going ahead and with the ruin changes. A lot of people, whether they think certain things are broken or not, people are having fun. A lot of people have been reinvigorated by this game and all the different changes. Where you could try some really weird Comet builds, like Sion is now played quite a bit in top lane and support, especially in Korea, with an over 50% win rate. Whereas before he hadn't been picked, and that was just due to the to being able to hit that Comet. A little bit of dancing from Pawn, making sure not to get stunned. He does have his cleanse back up, but not wanting to use it just yet if he can avoid it. Jack's clearing out that farm, or that ward rather. Gonna head back to the top side of the map. It looked like that Rift Herald was started, and Score was just gonna finish it. I think Smeb started it because like he hit it initially, like with and then Jax was just gonna come finish it. So Kha'Zix did start it a few minutes ago, but got challenged and decided to leave it. Jax now finishing it off, securing the Rift Herald. And KT has both the first Ocean Dragon and has Rift Herald. So early objectives going the way of KT, and then first tower going over to Afreeca. The lethality now going on to Veigar. So Veigar choosing to go magic penetration earlier, not going death cap overly quick, deciding to get AP and penetration first, a little bit of burst and wave clear with the proto belt, and then both times going Boots of Lucidity, valuing the cooldown reduction than the raw magic penetration stats that the magic pen boots give you. Lucidity boosts are also cheaper, only 600 as opposed to 800, so you can get them a little quicker and you can get that second item a little faster now. Veigar making sure to stack that Q, not wanting to get that CS right away, and waiting until his Q comes back up so he can get that extra ability power. Not only does Caitlyn siege well, she also defends well, so if you start placing those traps around your tower, it makes it much more difficult to go ahead and dive a Caitlyn bot lane. It's not impossible, it's just more difficult. Especially in lower elo, people walk on traps that they really don't need to be walking on all the time, and anyone that's in dive into lower, you all know what I'm talking about. Those slight misclicks, those unit blocks that send you into a trap. Another Sharina Shuffle for Azir, going ahead and getting countered by the ring stun. Almost finished off by Spirit. Very, very close. There was no isolation damage there onto Pawn. Pawn just walking away, and it looked like he had less than 100 hit points left. Gangplank very close on that kill. And Curl being able to just get out with the use of Flash. He does have Unseen Spellbook, so does have that teleport and can teleport back to lane real quick. His tower will be going down, and there he is. A couple of TPs going in. Both Lucian and Veigar, they're going to look to try to turn this. So they did lose the tower, but they're looking to go ahead and win the team fight. Stun landed, but Smed being able to get out with the fruit. The citrus fruit doing more than enough to be able to restore the health and take care of the CC, and I don't know if he's going to be getting through this. Just barely is able to get out with the stopwatch. That was so close. The teleport stopwatch. It's kind of like the Rise ultimate stopwatch, where you're able to get a free out once, unless you go ahead and build the hourglass. A lot of people don't want to build the hourglass unless you're mid lane. You don't need that AP. The armor is useful for almost anybody, but you don't need AP on a lot of champions, including Gangplank. So Gangplank only gets one use of that, and I don't necessarily see him building So he's already sold the item, as you can see. He went Yumu's again, second item, Yumu's Ghost Blade, not doing the Infinity Edge second. 50 CS down to the Lucian, no kills, no deaths. This is where Lucian wants to be. He's got 2 full items and upgraded boots. He has to start getting some kills or start doing some damage because at this point, Gangplank is going to start to scale much larger than Lucian will. Lucian's got that lead. He's got 50 CS. He's got a level lead, 14 to 13. This is where he needs to fight, and you could see him roaming around the map, trying to do just that. Swinging over to bot lane, where Gangplank has already got the wave pushed up towards him. Second dragon did go over to KT. It was a wind dragon, so not the most favorable dragons to be getting when you're putting priority in that. Last game, Afreeca got the first 2 dragons. Zir showing how quickly he can take down towers, and he was doing this last game as well. Taking that tier 1 top tower up was, if you leave him next to it for 5 seconds, he'll make you pay. Yeah, a little bit of trading places there from the Gangplank and Kha'Zix. Nicely played by Smeb, very amusing. Lucian pushed the wave in. Now he wants to rotate somewhere where he can get a fight. There's an Afreeca ping going out towards where the Jax is. They might be trying to close in on him. Afreeca deciding to go around Baron. Don't have vision around it yet. Right now KT is the one with the control wards around Baron. Afreeca would be wise to take this mid-tier 1 tower first before making some sort of Baron attempt. Lucian does not have teleport, but it looks like it will be up. It's only got a 1/4 cooldown. Again, with he does not have Unseen Spellbook. He has Airy. So probably about a minute on that cooldown for Lucian. And who Smeb's got him matched in the teleport timer. Azir getting out of the 2-on-1, not wanting to fight that. Kench is saying that it's not up to you. A little bit of a misclick from Caitlyn there. Probably could have got another auto attack, but 1 more auto and the ultimate would not have been enough to kill Pawn just there. Nice ultimate by Lucian, getting Gangplank down to half health, but he is 2-on-4 trying to stop this tower take. But if you put the stun down and W the minions, then Veigar stops that push right in its tracks. 1,300 gold lead from KT, the first 2 dragons. They did get Rift Herald, which they used in mid lane to get that mid-tier 1, which in turn can help get position on this Baron. But here at 25 minutes, it's still anyone's game. Again, slight scaling advantage once again for KT. Last game it was more significant. This game it is more slight. Still, the only kills are these level 1 kills that we had Varus get the first blood and Caitlyn and Veigar pick up return kills. Nothing so far yet, mostly just farming. First death going over to Lucian, with Smeb picking that up on Gangplank, and right there that automatically vaults Gangplank into an even position with Lucian. And here at level 15, Gangplank is going to be able to do so much more. So already showing that. Lucian not able to get these key teamfight wins, not able to get the solo kills onto Gangplank, and you're going to see his influence be less and less as this game goes on, with Smeb once again weathering the early storm. And these are some tough lanes. Gnar, Lucian, I mean, they don't get much tougher than that, and he doesn't die. He just doesn't die in lane. And that's what you want to do with Gangplank. It really, losing a little bit of CS, getting pushed under towers, not that big of a deal. Getting killed 2 or 3 times is a big deal, because then a sizable advantage happens. But nice Shurima shuffle by Pawn, being able to catch the Caitlyn out, which I'm not sure why Caitlyn was out that far without Tahm Kench being anywhere close. She should have been back closer to this tower, but Braum being able to block most of the damage, getting the ultimate down onto Vigar, forcing the team back, and picking up this mid-tier 2 just in time to start heading back, and then getting some vision around this Baron. So about a 5,000 gold lead now for KT. They're starting to extend their lead. Ocean Dragon in 40 seconds. Not really a priority here, this Ocean Dragon. You want more around the Baron, and Deft getting the Scuttle Crab, and that's how you know that they're putting priority in the Baron. When the AD carry takes a little bit of time just to pick up the Scuttle Crab, you know that that's a position that they're going to want to be fighting around, and getting that utility and vision around that major objective is so very important. Identical farm for Varus and Caitlyn. Caitlyn very shortly is going to be doing more damage than Varus, so Caitlyn does need another item. She's currently got the 2 attack speed items with the Infinity Edge. We'll be probably going for a Phantom Dancer next, possibly something else. Could be going for a Hurricane as well, depending if you're valuing wave clear or if you're valuing a little bit of movement speed. The one-on-one battle, this is what we really wanted to see. This is the one that Lucian would have almost certainly won a few levels ago, and that was not guaranteed. It could have went either way, and just barely being able to eke out a kill onto Gangplank. But just watch them when they're at level 18. They're both level 16 right now. Watch that fight at level 18, and we're going to see who wins that. I'm going to bet it's going to be Gangplank. Good damage over towards Pawn. Kuro doing what he can to stop the pressure from Azir. And Azir brings a lot of tower pushing pressure, as we've seen him push the top lane. When you leave him alone next to a turret, that turret doesn't stay around very long. And when you combine that with a Gangplank and a Jax, then you have a lot of split pushing power and turret damage when you do get that alone time with the turret. Mata playing pretty safe. That was a fight started by Smeb, trying the double barrel into the ultimate. A very key heal from Tahm Kench there, using the redemption, and that was the difference in the fight, being able to get that redemption down. And one of the advantages of redemption is the range on it. They are most certainly not going to be going on Mata very hard. He already has a couple tank items with Mercury Treads, not really the person you want to be using your cooldowns on. Caitlyn looks like she's a little bit caught out, but not so much as Tahm Kench, whose Grey Health is going to come out. KT picking up the kill. It's a 4-on-5 at the moment. Gangplank moving up towards Caitlyn, but not needing to finish that off just yet. Jax is going to head over towards the Baron, and they're going to start it. Pink Ward is out. Lucian is split pushing on the bottom lane for Afreeca. He does have teleport. This is not a fight I don't think that they want to be taking. It is a 4-on-5, possibly trying to go for a steal, but that's about it. You don't not want to be fighting. Jax going to go ahead and pick up that Baron with kills being traded over from Vigar and Varus. Meanwhile, Afreeca deciding to go ahead and get the split push with the Lucian, and I like the call personally. You could teleport into a fight that you're most likely going to lose, or you could do the guaranteed thing and take that tier 2 bottom turret with possible pressure onto the Ocean Dragon. So it's a possible tower and dragon for a Baron, and yes, the Baron comes out ahead on that in the trade, but at least you're taking something. You're trading back something. And I'm going to be very curious once this replay stops as to who got that Ocean Dragon. And Afreeca absolutely got that Ocean Dragon. Picking up the blue onto Lucian, and he does need it. As you can see, his mana was low. And yeah, just well played, League of Legends. If you know that you are most likely going to lose a fight, it's best not to take that fight and just take whatever you can around the map. So this is something the pro teams do so much better than in amateur or solo queue games. And even in a high-level solo queue, it doesn't often happen where teams can just give up objectives and try to take something. Even putting pressure somewhere else on the map, at least you get something. So a big point of power for KT is they have not lost their mid-tier 1 tower, and this just goes to the constant pressure that Azir has been putting onto Veigar. Veigar excels at blowing up a single champion and stacking for the late game, whereas Azir has more of a mid-game presence and was able to help push towers in the mid lane. Of course, helped with Rift Herald, but also his team, and that's why the two mid towers are gone for Afreeca. Veigar blowing up Varus. This is exactly the type of fiend fight they want to start. Veigar picking up 2 kills, and on the top 2 targets too. Got the mid lane and the AD carry already out, so this gives you a great opportunity to be able to push out these waves and reclaim your jungle with some warding. So a little bit of a over-aggression from KT, the carries being in precarious positions, and Afreeca taking advantage. So Afreeca is definitely going to be extending this game a little bit further out. Yes, they're down 5,000 gold, but picking up those 2 kills will almost certainly be a mid-tier 1 tower. KT is not too worried about that. They still have Baron and a number of members. You know, it is 33 minutes into the game. This tier 1 was probably going to fall down at some point. It is the most valuable turret in the game. And Afreeca is just going to be trying to hold on. Mid wave is is pushing, top wave's pushing a little bit, bottom is even, and when you don't have Baron, this is where you want the waves to be. They're not in a position that they could be pressuring your towers, and as you can see with the Baron timer at 12 seconds, that's not going to be enough for a push. So great defense from Afreeca, picking up those 2 kills, and they are still in this game. Next dragon is going to be Elder. Not a whole lot of valuable dragons that have been taken already, so the priority is going to be pretty low with only 2 and 1 dragon and no Infernals and no Mountains to kind of boost up. So yes, Elder's always a priority, but it's just not going to be that close to Baron priority that happens when one team has 3 or 4 key dragons and then can go ahead and boost those with the help of an Elder dragon. Like having 2 or 3 Infernal Dragons and then getting an Elder almost guarantees your next team fight win if you're able to set up in any sort of meaningful fashion. So the Siege is coming out once again, bottom turret at 25%. KT just needs to make sure not to get engaged on again. Very important for Mata to be guarding Deft. He's sticking in mid lane to do just that. Proto Belt with stun used by Veigar, missing. Well, he hit the Proto Belt, missed the stun. He's just moving back lane to lane to try to wave clear. Does look like the bottom turret would be the point of contention. These players are already almost at max items. Good ultimate by Lucian, making sure to get Smeb down to half health. Guardian Angel out by Varus. Pick that up as a 4th item. And Caitlyn deciding to go Bloodthirster as a 4th item. So I missed the mark on that one by predicting Phantom Dancer or Hurricane. So just a little bit extra survivability with that shield. little bit extra damage, as you get with the Bloodthirster, being a BF sword item. Kuro has picked up his Death Cap and a late Morale-o-Nomicon. That's an unusual pickup. Normally it's a first item when you decide to build it. So getting that for the cooldown reduction and ability power. Also has some grievous wounds, and both Jax and Gangplank do get some sort of healing. But yeah, unusual pickup. I would not be suggesting ever build Morello later than a second item, and here Curl builds it fourth. So we're looking at his ability power. Didn't quite get a look at that. It at 37 minutes into the game with a death cap, he's at least at 700-800, I would say. We've seen him burst out the Varus. We've seen him nearly burst out the Azir. Azir now with 3 deaths, so doing extremely well in lane. Get great pushing damage, but has been targeted here in this mid game. Not who you want to be stunning here from Jax. So he jumps in knowing that he's just going to walk right out. And the key about playing Jax is you have to play around your counter attack. So your E, which is where you mitigate damage directed towards you, and then at the end of it is a stun to any champions that are around you. Probably the most important ability in his kit. Next is auto attack canceling with his W. So Caitlyn making it difficult to fight around here with all these traps. But once you get past the traps, it's not so difficult. Engagement going on, barrel into ultimate. But look who goes over is it's Kuro picking up a kill onto Mata. And that's Mata's first death. Stun coming out, hitting Deft, but Deft not getting finished off until he ends up getting killed. Wow. That is a 3 for 1 in favor of KT and only losing Mata. So a little bit strange that Vygar would use his ultimate on the support, really the lowest value target on the team. So you would have wanted to get the support and then back off out of any sort of fight. And here, with only Caitlyn and Kha'Zix remaining, this game could be over. And with that Caitlyn kill, this game is over. Caitlyn was needed for the wave clear, and KT knows that. Everyone's taken off their headsets. And here we have a series. 1-1. Here are the boys. Whoa, look at those cool headsets. I want these. Those are some badass headsets. I want those. I don't care what it costs. That's my next headset. I want them. I want them. I want them. I want them. KT, you've sold me. So the game going deep again into about the 45-minute mark. People were level 18. The scaling comp of KT was able to prevail, but not only that, being able to get the early towers and the early gold lead, picked up the first 2 dragons. They had the lead with their scaling comp, and then were able to get a couple of key team fights. Gangplank did extremely well this game, as well as Deft on Varus. Both players probably deserving, either of them, the player of the game. Maybe I'd give it to Deft this game. So good job, KT, and series is at 1-1 here in the 2018 LCK spring season. I myself, RavExel, going to be continuing to cast these games for you. Like, subscribe if you like me casting, and I take requests on what kind of games you want me to cast, be it professional or maybe a custom 10 with your friends. So if you have a request, go ahead and write me, leave a comment. Write me through my Gmail, which is attached to this this YouTube account, and I'm going to continue doing this for you. So, Game 2 in the books. KT coming back against Afreeca. Series is at 1-1. Game 3 up ahead.